Hey there, everybody. CP Cards and Dice, and welcome to a part one of our three-part tutorial on Fall Classic Baseball. Now, Fall Classic Baseball, I picked up for a total. I bought, I think, a couple of different things. I bought the Fast Action cards, which is a really thick deck. Take a look at this. Pretty thick. And I'm using that. And I got the cards. The season's about $60. Really nice quality cards. I mean, not really super duper thick, but good enough. A little shine to them. Nice quality. I mean, and they're pretty easy to read. The font is large enough to read easily. You get a lot of players, even players that had just a handful of at bats. So you get a lot of cards. You get a ballpark card with every team. Every team comes with its ballpark. So and that's fairly realistic and so forth. Comes up every so often. We'll see if that comes up in our game. And I'm playing. I'm playing through the 1967 Seaver rookie season, just as a means of learning the game. And I wanted to play out Seaver's rookie season to see the type of pitchers he went up against, the type of batters he faced, and so on. And today, this is start 14, and I'm maybe the third tutorial I'll do the stats for Seaver. But in the last three games, he's 2-1. He's given up 5 runs in 16 and 25 innings. So he's doing pretty well in the last 5 games. He just pitched a 2-hit shutout. And in this game, he's going to be facing Bob Bruce with the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves have some big stars like Hank Aaron, Mac Jones, Cleve Boyer. And Bob Bruce was a 1.4 whip, whereas Seaver's a 1.2 whip. And we're about to get started. And it's going to be Bud Harrelson, Cleon Jones, and Larry Stahl in center field. Then you have Tommy Davis, Ed Crane, Bud Charles. And the last 2 batters are Bushek, the second baseman, Grody, the catcher, and Tom Seaver. Now, one thing that I like to do before I start the games is write down the arms for the outfielders, because that comes up a lot when you're going from first to third or second to home. So what I want to do is write down the outfield arms, and you look at the bottom of the card right down here. Let me see if I can show you that. Right down here, see where it says arm right there. And he's playing left field. So his arm on left field is an S, which means strong 5. That means he's going to throw out a lot of guys. So we're going to write that in here, arm S5. So we're not going to be running on the left fielder, that's for sure. Then we have Hank Aaron. And again, Hank Aaron's arm number rating in right field is A4, which is average 4. Sometimes we'll run on him. And then ultimately it's Mac Jones, and we'll look at Mac Jones' card. And Mac Jones' card, if you can see it, his center field arm is A3. So I like to write those down because those are going to help us out, and you'll see later why. It's also good to write the second baseman and the shortstops for double plays. That sometimes it'll say if the shortstop has a strong arm, you'll get an extra double play every so often. So I'm going to check out Menke at shortstop. These are the things that I found that I really need. Otherwise, I'm not a guy to write down a lot of stuff. So Menke's arm at shortstop is an A. So I'm going to put the A in there. Oh, that's Woodward. Menke's at A. Woodward is right after him. He's at second base, and he is an S, a strong arm. So that may end up being an advantage. At some point, it'll say double play if it's a strong arm at second base, and then you can get that little boost. And now it's Cleve Boyer at third base, and he has a strong arm as well, so he will be getting an advantage as well there. Okay, that's about it. Those are the guys I need the most. Probably the other guys I won't need, so I'm not going to worry about them. Again, with the Mets, I do the same. I used a sleeve from the Stratomatic sleeves. All you got to do is cut the top, and it fits perfect. So Cleon Jones is in right field. That's a position that I haven't seen him play. He's an A3 arm. So okay, just don't want him to be weak arms. Larry Stahl, the center fielder, He's got an S6 arm. Wow. He's not allowing anybody to take an extra base. S6. And finally, it's Davis in left field, and he's an A2. You can move on him. All right. And we're right about to start. So that's basically of course, the second baseman, Harrelson, is shortstop. He's an A arm at shortstop, and the second baseman, Bushek, is at the end. He is an A as well. Third baseman, Charles. Charles' arm is going to be an A. So A's all around. I'm bidding on I'm bidding on a book. Let me double check. Joe Pepitone book. I'm still the highest. A minute left, so a lot of guys bid at the end, but I can't go much higher than that for that book. I want to read a book called "You Could Have Made Us Proud," Joe. Anyway, let's get started with this. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roll, and you can see it up here to the upper right hand. I'm going to roll for Bob Bruce. Let's do Bob Bruce. No, Tom Seaver's on top. Let me do Seaver first. Okay, and that's a 4, so he's going to be an A pitcher. That's exactly what you want to see for Tom Seaver. Want him to be an A. And Bob Bruce, let's see what Bob Bruce is going to be. Bob Bruce is going to be what is that? A 9, so he's going to be a B pitcher. That's a cool thing about them. All right, so this is a system where each pitcher has 3 columns. You can be amazing one day or not so amazing or somewhere in between. And that's a cool thing. That's one of the things that attracted me to this game, that aspect of not really knowing what is going to be what. Hey there, Kevin Hayes. How are you, brother? So let's get started with this game. Buddy Harrelson. Now, most of the action comes off the batter, so it's pretty quick. And one way of speeding up the game I've just learned is just writing an O for an out. And you're going to see how fast that goes. Now, just because I want to slow down in certain parts of the game. So let's start here. And let me show, before I start, let me show you the fast action card so you know what you're dealing with. It has columns 1 to 11. And the way some guys do it and the way I do it, and everybody does it a little bit different. But guys start with 1, first inning, second inning, third inning, fourth inning, fifth inning, and like that, all the way to 9 innings. And it has an 11, and you can start all over it again. That's a cool way, and you know that you don't have to really shuffle a lot because all these cards are going to pretty much, end up being in different innings and so on and so forth. So that's a cool thing. So you're not getting one number from each card, but you're getting like 11 different numbers, right? So I'm going to pull a card. And this is it. And I'm going to go with that number. Number 1 is a 64 to Buddy Harrelson. So I'm going to check his. I won it. All right. For $9. Not bad. I won that Joe Pepitone book from the 70s. All right. So Bud Harrelson, 64. So you go to Bud Harrelson's card and you scroll down. Go to 64. You see it's blank. If it's blank, that's going to tell you to go to the pitcher's card. Pitcher's card now, right? And you go to 64 and it's an out. That's it. So I'm just going to write a 0. Now let me show you if I didn't, because I'm going to do that to just speed up the game. Right? Now let's say I want to find out what kind of an out it is. I just pull a card. Look how simple this is. Pull a card, and right here it says line out first base. Okay, now I could look at it was a 64, so I would look at the white die. The white die, usually you roll a red and a white. The white die would be a 4, so it'd be a line out to second base. This is line out to first base or refer if you want to vary it up a little bit. So it gives you lots of options, but look how simple that was. So that was a line out at first base. I just wrote a 0 because I don't want to deal with anything more than that right now. Just want to really showing you guys how to play this game. I mean, I don't know if you can get any simpler than this. So you pull a card, and it's a 66. See that one? It's a 66 right there. So 66 is a big number. It's like a little bit like Appa. I think he was influenced by Appa a little bit. So a 66 is going to take us to a double on Cleon Jones is up. A double, a triple, or a single. So we need a number 1 to 7. This is the part that's like Stratomatic, right? 1 to 7 is going to be a double. 8 to 15 is going to be a triple. So he drives one in the gap for sure. It's either going to get cut off or it's going to get by the outfielders and roll to the wall. If it's 8-15, it bounds off the wall away from the outfielder, and he's going to make it into a triple. Otherwise, he's going into second base. So let's see what we pull. So we're going to pull another card. We're going to look in the second row, which is a 5, and that's going to be a double. One hop off the wall, played nicely by the center fielder, Mac Jones, and gets it in quickly. But Cleon Jones is in there with a 2-base hit, and he's on at first. All right. Now it's Larry Stahl. Larry Stahl wasn't a very good hitter, about a 239 and 155 at bats, but he is a lefty, and he's the center fielder. Cleon Jones is at second base. There's one out. We're going to pull another card. And a 1 is a 31. 31 is a tough number. So we're going to have to go. So we're not going to look. I don't want to leave that there because that's Seaver's card. So 31 is a blank on, and let me show you that again. You can see that 31 is blank. There's nothing there. So that's going to take us to Bob Bruce's card. And what does he have under single? Under 31 is a single. He was a B, right? Yep, he's a B pitcher. All right, so what does that mean? Well, now we have to find out the advance. There's a runner on second. Does he score? That's the question. That's when the outfielders come into play. Right? You got one here, you got one here, and you got one there. All right, here we go. So we're going to pull a card, and look how simple this is. You look at the bottom, base hit to left field, which is not good for the Mets because he's got a killer, crazy arm. He's got a cannon out there. Felipe Alou, they gave him a very high rating. And from 2 to 8, from 2 to home, right? You look at the middle one. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can show you that. From 2 to home, scores if the outfielder has a W, which is weak, or an average arm. With 2 outs, he scores. Anybody scores. You see how he kind of abbreviates all that stuff? Scores if W or A, that means weak arm or average arm. And if there's 2 outs, there's only 1 out, then everybody scores. So it's going to be a single, and he's going to stop at third base. So Jones gets the red light, and he stops. We got runners on first and third now. And it's Tommy Davis. And you know what? I'm going to bring this a little bit closer down to this, let's see if I can do that. All right, there. That way you'll be able to see hopefully you can see, and let me do this. Let me do that. You know what? Let me push it back. I may have gone too far. So you can see the card a little bit better, I think. And then I think that'll help. All right, Tommy Davis now, first and third. And again, on the mound is Bob Bruce. He's a right-handed pitcher with a 1.49 whip. They don't have the ERA on this because ERA is really kind of pretty meaningless. Tommy Davis. So here's a pitch. Tommy Davis is the Mets' best hitter. He's a 300 hitter. But there's first and third. If there was second and third, I might walk him. Here's the pitch. So again, we're looking in that first column because the first thing, that's a 63. So that's going to be a blank on Davis. I don't know if you can see that. Hope you can. So we're going to look on the pitcher. And on the pitcher, a 63 is an out. All right, but with a runner on first, it could end up being a double play. So I'm going to have to check the type of out. So let's check the type of out. Let's go to right here, fly out center field. And with a runner at second, it's going to say to hold. Runner going from second to third, hold. From first to second, hold. From second to third, hold. And I have runners oh, wait, I have runners on, oh no, I have a runner on third base. He moved to third. So it says third base to home, hold, unless he's a fast with an exclamation mark. All right, so let's see if Cleon Jones may just be that. Let's check and see if Cleon Jones is fast with an exclamation mark, and he's just a fast, no exclamation mark. So he's going to hold. It's a fly out to center, so that's going to be an out. And I'll put Bruce back in his holder. Let's put the cards to the side there like that. And all right, so let's put this at the bottom. Now it's Steady Eddie Kranepool, the first baseman for the Mets. Steady Eddie batted 269 and 469 at bats. Love Steady Eddie. So he's a longtime Met, retired in 79. Here's a pitch from Bob Bruce to the lefty hitting Ed Kranepool with 2 outs, runners on first and third. See if the Mets can score a run here. And this is not good because that's giving me a shadow. All right, so it's good. Again, we're going to 1, and that's a 42. 42 on Ed Kranepool is a blank. So again, we go to Bruce, a 42, and that's ball 4. Because we're looking at the B section, the B column. This is A. Remember at the beginning we rolled, I think, a I don't remember what. Wait, we rolled a 9, so that fell within 7 to 14. So he's a B, and that 42 is going to be ball 4, and that's going to load the bases. So the bases are loaded now for Ed Charles. Ed Charles batted .238 with 3 home runs. And bases loaded, 2 outs. Here's the pitch from Bruce. That's a 25. A 25 is going to be straight out. It tells me out. That's the 3rd out. And that retires the side. The Mets leave 3, unfortunately. No runs, 2 hits, and a walk. And we go to the bottom of the 1st. So this tutorial is going to be 3 innings, and then I'm going to cut it. And then it's going to be Felipe Alou, Tito Francona, and Hank Aaron. So that's going to be fun watching these guys. So let me put this in the middle so we can see it and we can focus on it. All right, hopefully, I don't know how much you can see. Let me see if I get a little bit closer without losing too much of the scoreboard. There we go. Hey there, DJ. How are you, brother? Yeah, there's a lot of videos on, Stratomatic, and I play all the games. So I play, actually, I'm setting up a little, I'm going to have some games with Stratomatic. I'm replaying some of DeGrom's games in his rookie season. I'm going to start probably with the opening day, not his first start at Yankee Stadium, which was really cool. All right, so again, I'm teaching people how to play Fall Classic Baseball. And this is Felipe Alou leading off, so I'm going to pull a card. These are fast action cards. It makes life way more simple, and let me show you why. Because if you don't use the fast action cards, this is what you're going to deal with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and on it. It's a big pile, dude. It's like maybe 25 pages. No exaggeration. 25 to 30 pages. So I don't have to use any of that. I have it right here. It's beautiful. All right, so I pull the card. It's a 45, and a 45 is going to be an out. That's real simple, straightforward, what I do with my pen. So that's 1 away for Tom Terrific. And now it's Terry Francona, the left-handed hitting first baseman. And it's a 44. That's going to be any double is going to be like Appa. If you've ever played Appa, that's going to be a base hit. So a runner's on first base now. Terry Francona. Here comes Hank Aaron. He's trouble. I mean, he's Hank Aaron, right? 24. But a 24 is going to be an out. What kind of an out? We got to see, because it could be a double play. That's a fly out, so we don't have to worry. Nobody advances on that. 2 outs, and here comes Mac Jones. Mac Jones. Let me just tell you quickly, just just worth mentioning. Hank Aaron batted .307 with 39 home runs. Yep. So he's a beast. Here's Mac Jones, who batted .253 with 17 home runs. So he's got good power. So here's a pitch from Seaver with a runner on first. It's a 65, and that's home run off the pitcher. So this is interesting. It's 65, says home run P, right? That's home run pitcher. So you pull Seaver's card, and right now it's going to be a home run from 1 to 10, a strikeout from 1 to 3. So basically 8 to 10 is going to be a home run, and he has no negatives because he's got 17 home runs. Some guys that hit a few home runs have a negative there, and that would reduce Seaver. Like if Seaver's a 1 to 10 and he had a -4, it would be a 1 to 6, and 1 to 3 is a K. So here goes. We're going to pull. Seaver could be down by 2 runs. We're going to look, and it's a 16, and that is going to be an out. It's a fly out to center field because that's above the 1 to 10. And that's how I play that. I believe that's how you would play that. And that's going to retire the side. All right. So Mets are up now in the top of the 2nd. No runs and 1 hit for the Atlanta Braves. It's going to be Jerry Bushek. Here's a pitch. Now we go to column 2. It's a 31. You can see that right there. See that? Column 2, top is the 2, anyway, the D36 they call it. It's a 31, and a 31 Bushek is a blank, but when you go to Bruce, it's going to be a single. So Bushek is on with a base hit. And Bushek batted 236. Here's Jerry Grody. And here's the pitch to Grody. We're looking again. It's column 2. It's a 65. That's a, you see, this is good, so you can see that. This is going to be a home run off the pitcher, but a -4 now. It's going to be a -4. See, it says -4 there. So you go to the pitcher where it says 1-10. Oh, wait. Seaver was an A. Seaver was an A, and I actually cheated him. So I should have been looking at the Seaver A section. Instead of looking at 1-10 like I did, thinking he was a B, I should have been looking at 1-7. So really, it was only 3 numbers that could have been a home run there. So anyway, Bob Bruce, we're looking at the B column, and it's going to be, for home runs, it's going to be 1-9, but 1-3 is a strikeout. So if it comes out, that's a strikeout. Anything above a 4 is going to be to the 9. It's going to be a home run. So we're going to pull a card for Grody, and we're going to look in the second row, and that's a 13, so that's going to be a fly out to center field. All right, so Tom Terrific. We're going to try to bunt with Tom Terrific. So he's a 5 bunter. So you want to roll 5 or less. The bunt rule, you know what? The bunt rule is a little, I don't use it a lot, so I don't have it memorized. But I just want to show it here because, I mean, it's something you do use at this period in time. It's with the hit and run chart. You got to memorize what stuff is where. So it doesn't take you like an hour. That's what takes long when you start playing this. There's a couple of charts you do need. Is the 54 chart. That's the ones you don't need all these if you use the fast action cards. You need the defense chart. Not really. There's one little column there that you do need. I'm looking for the hit and run because that's where the bunting is. Okay. So the bunting, sacrifice bunt, there's the factored in. Okay. Roll 2d6. So d6 is less than or equal to the batter's. So let's pull a d6. Actually, you know what? I can roll a d6. Let's roll a d6. That's a 5. So equal or 2. So it's a good bunt. If it's 5, because his number rating, his sacrifice rating is a 5. So if it's equal or less than, right? If this is equal or less than on the first roll, then the batter gets the bunt down. So he lays it down. It's a good bunt. And that 6 is going to tell me, what do we roll? A 5? That 5 is going to tell me it goes to the third baseman, by the way. 3 goes to the first baseman. 1, 4, and 6 goes to the pitcher, and then 2 goes to the catcher. So it's pretty simple to memorize. All right. If the D6 is less than or equal to the batter's, okay. If greater than, it's a strikeout. Real simple. Just one roll needed for that. The second roll, it's to see if it's a good sacrifice. If greater than the sacrifice hit rating, then the lead runner is out. Okay. Batter is safe at first on a fielder's choice. If the second roll is a 6, it's popped up, and you roll again, a 2, 11, and a 12 is craps, and then that leads to a double play. Very, very simple to remember. I really like that rule. It's very well done, very well thought out. Let's roll this. Got to be 5 or less, and it's a 6. So now we're going to roll. We're going to roll 2. You don't want it to be a, what did I say? Craps. It was a. So this is a. It's popped up, but we roll again. If it's a 2, 11, or a 12, it's going to be a double play. All right. And that's an 8, so it's popped up, and we said it was going to be to the third baseman. So pop 5, and you see, I noticed I went away from writing the 0. There you go. Write that 0 there. That simplifies. You don't have to worry about the outs, just to play a quicker game. All right, so Seaver doesn't get the bunt down, pops it up, and here comes Buddy Harrelson. And again, we look at it's the second inning, so we're going to look at the second column. The top is in 11. That's going to be an out, and we're going to that's a third out, so we just write 0. So no runs, 1 hit, and we go to the bottom of the second. Remember, this is a 3-inning tutorial, and I'm going to do another 3-inning tutorial at a later date. Clete Boyer. That way I can really take time doing this, and I don't have to play the whole game because I think that's a little bit overwhelming for the brain. So Clete Boyer's up, and let's pull a card for Tom Terrific. Remember, he's an A. I got to remind myself. That's a 24. A 24 is going to be a hit by pitch if If the D20 is a 1 or a 2, I can throw a D20 right here and you can see it. And it's a 17, so that's going to be an out. It's not a 1 or a 2, so it's an out. Dennis Menke batted 227 with 7 home runs, not much of a hitter. That's a 23. A 23 is going to be a K, so a strikeout for terrific. And now it's Woody Woodward. Here's a pitch. And again, we pull it. We look at that second column, 65. And in this case, he doesn't hit very many home runs. He hit no home runs. So it's a 65 is an out, and that retires the side. That's simple. No runs, no hits, no errors, no left on base. Fall Classic Baseball. Nice little game. I like learning with these older teams, these older seasons, because there's not a lot of changes, not a lot of substitutions. But this is a blast, and sometimes I'll just play 3 innings, take a break, and come back, play another 3 innings, and like that, just to keep a game in my head throughout the day and so on. Cleon Jones is up. Cleon Jones doubled in his first at bat in the first inning. Here's the top of the third. So this is the last inning of the tutorial. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Considering your purchase of this one, thanks. I see the video like this, and I wonder why I have such a. Does Fall Classic have a lot of available seasons? Yes, they actually have a ton of seasons. That's another thing that attracted me to this game. A ton of seasons. And they have the thing that really I think is kind of cool is the fact that you can roll to see if the pitcher is really going to be hot that day or he's going to be kind of off. I like that aspect of the game. It's kind of cool. Bears Den 007 and Sebastian Strack. KD is only looked at on 51, 52, 53 rolls. No. Yep. Okay. Good. That's true. All right. So here we are with top of the third with Cleon Jones leading it off. So I'm going to pull a card. Now I'm going to look at the third inning. So I'm looking at the top 23, and it's going to be a K. So Bob Bruce strikes out Cleon Jones. Next is Larry Stahl. Stahl batted 239 with 1 home run. And we look at the third inning. That's a 46, and a 46 is going to be ballpark. Perfect. So now we're going to look at the ballpark. I'm going to roll a D20 for that, see what happens. This is the way I play it, real simple. 13, right? So he's a lefty hitter. So it's on this side. A 13 is going to be a foul out. If he's I really like this aspect of the game. Even though I'm going to write it I'm not going to write where he fouled it off to or anything. I'm just going to put a 0 right now. It tells you that if he's a lefty, he fouls out to the third baseman. But if he's a righty, he fouls out to the first baseman. No other game really does that very often. I can't remember off the top of my head if there's any other games that do that. Oh, you know what? History Maker Baseball does that. So this is going to be an out, a pop-up. So depending on the side that the batter hits from, it's going to affect where the ball goes, which I like that aspect of it. It's kind of cool. And now I've started doing that playing APA. So when it's a grounded to short, but he's a lefty, I make it a grounded to second. And if it's a fly to right, and the guy's a pull lefty guy that I know, if it's a fly to left and it's a pull lefty, then I'm going to make it a fly to either center or right field. More realistic. Tommy Davis. Here's a pitch. So again, you go into column 3, right? Because we're in the third inning. And it's a 15. That's the number you want. You look at Tommy Davis's card. Let's look what it says. You look at 15, and it says out X, which means it would be an automatic double play if there was runners on base. There's nobody on base. It's an out, and that retires the side. 3 up, 3 down for Bob Bruce. And we go bottom of the third now. So it's a cool game. So simple to use. The guy I hear is real has a good math intellect. The opposite of guys who play these games. I don't think they're real mathematicians, because if you're a real mathematician, you probably write your own game. And you know who's writing their own game right now? Digi Dugout. The company that does every single score sheet, pre-filled score sheet from like 1906. Digi Dugout for every game, for every player. That whole thing. They're working on their own game right now, their own baseball game. That ought to be cool. All right, Bob Euchre's up. Believe it or not, Bob Euchre started this game. I'm using actual lineups. I got this from DigiDugout, digidugout.com. And Bob Euchre, Bob Bruce, the pitcher, and Felipe Alou. And I think Bob Bruce actually had a hitting card, which is, oh no, wait, he didn't have a hitting card. He did not have a hitting card. So if Euchre gets on, I'll have him bump, and I won't need a hitting card. But otherwise, he's going to make an out, automatic out. That's what I'm going to do because Bob Bruce, you know what I was going to do? I was going to actually check his batting average. I was going to do it on a hold on a second. Let me check out. Let me see if I could do that. Bob Bruce. This is a new thing I'm going to do for guys that don't have cards that had like 1 or 2 at bats. If they made outs, I'm just going to give them an automatic out. I'll let him sacrifice, but otherwise, Bob Bruce, MLB. Let's see what's. Not Bryce, Bruce. And I'll solve that problem fast because I'm not going to be printing out everything or even opening up my computer for just one guy, one at bat, who really never got a hit and only had 2 at bats. It's just not worth it. Bob Bruce stats. Got to write stats so you get baseball reference. If you don't write stats, you don't get baseball reference. There it is. All right. So what did he do batting wise in 1967? Let's look. Batting. Show standard batting 1967, his last season. He had 12 at bats. So he was basically 1 for 6. So 1 out of 6 is like, that's what he'll do. 1 out of 6. And let me see if he had no doubles, no homers, no triples. And did he have any sacrifices? He had how many strikeouts? 4 strikeouts, so 1 out of 3 strikes out. He had no sacrifices. All right, so that's what it's going to be. 1 out of 6. We're going to roll a d6 for him. So first we're going to pull for Euchre. So Bob Euchre in the bottom, we're using the third column, is a 64, and that's going to be a blank. And Seaver under A, 64, and that's an out, so 1 away. Now we're going to roll a d6 unless it's a 1, which will be a hit. It's going to be an out. It's a 5, so that's 2 outs. Because that's all he did. He had 12 at bats. I'm not going to worry about that. I don't think they had a card. I looked for him, but I didn't see it. And finally, it's Philippe Alou. We're going to pull a card. Again, we're looking it's a 3rd inning. So we're going to go 21 is the number. I don't know if you can see that, 21. So we're going to look at 21 on Philippe Alou's card, and that's an out, and that's it. So Seaver retires aside, 3 up, 3 down. So Seaver dominant. He's given up only 1 hit in 3 innings. I'm loving this. And that's about it. That's about it for the tutorial today. I feel that this is a very extremely playable game. Now I need to do a couple more tutorials because I need to land on like a 54, which is when you're really looking at your wild pitch pass ball, and that's super easy to do. And I already did the ballpark card, which was crucial. I did the bunt. I really haven't tried too many hit and runs, but I'm going to check that out. But I will start doing a hit and run every so often to learn a little bit better. Haven't done too many of those. Haven't just been learning the game, really. I play these games to learn the game, so I don't really worry about, a real super duper, going all out. Right now, we got a pretty good game going here. We got a 0-0 tie at the end of 3. And this is my part 1 tutorial of Fall Classic Baseball. So you guys can watch it in chunks, and that will help you out to do that. And that way I can go really slow and show you. Because if I try to play the whole thing at once, then I'll wear myself down and I'll be cranky. And you got to get the fast action cards. I believe they're about $20, but hey, they are well worth it for sure, without a doubt. You got everything on here. You really do. So this is CP Cards and Dice signing out, and take care, guys. And again, contact me with any questions. I check out my messages on YouTube all the time. So just reach out to me and I'll get back to you. Take care.